Hello, welcome to ACLAN 360. Today's topic is connective tissues. In the earlier videos, we have discussed about tissues. The four main classification of tissues are epithelial, connective, muscular, and nervous tissues. So we have already discussed epithelial tissues in very details, its structure, functions, classification, everything we have covered in previous videos. So the next section is connective tissue. Connective tissues are one of the most abundant and widely distributed tissues in the body. You can see connective tissue as cartilage, blood, macrophages, then fibers like collagen fibers, elastin fibers. All these are examples of connective tissues. So they are found throughout our body in various structures and they serve different functions in our body. The basic features of connective tissue. So when you see a section of connective tissue under the microscope, you can find two basic elements. They are extracellular matrix and cells. So cells make up tissues. So there is no doubt in that. So why we say a cells and extracellular matrix? Here in epithelial tissues, in the previous videos I have already explained the epithelial tissues when seen under microscope, they are like this. They have a basement membrane and the cells are arranged like this. They are arranged closely to each other. They are closely packed and they have very little spaces in between, or they have very little intercellular spaces. So this is about the case of epithelial tissues. While you see connective tissue under the microscope, the cells are widely scattered. They are not closely packed. So the one element is cells, that is, the cells are widely scattered. So what is this space? The space between these cells. That is called extracellular matrix. So the connective tissue, the two basic elements are cells and extracellular matrix. The extracellular matrix consists of protein, fibers, and ground substance. Protein, fibers, and the ground substance. And these cells, they secrete the extracellular matrix, that is the protein, fibers, and the ground substance. So we already discussed that this, if you are seeing a section, you will see the cells, they are widely distributed and the space is called extracellular matrix. So this extracellular matrix, they have protein fibers. There are three different types of protein fibers like elastic fibers, reticular fibers, collagen fibers, etc. So this fibers and the ground substance, this space is called the space between the cells are called the ground substance. So this ground substance, this determines the quality or the functional qualities of the tissues. For example, cartilage. The cartilage is the type of tissue found in the tip of the nose. So it is different from bone. Bone is another connective tissue. Bone is very hard, while cartilage is firm, but it is pliable. When you touch the tip of the nose, you can understand. So why this happens? It is due to the ground substance. The difference between the ground substance in the cartilage and the bone. So these are about the basic features of connective tissue. It consists of extracellular matrix and the cells. The cells are the one which produce this ground substance or the protein fibers and the protein fibers. The extracellular matrix consists of protein fibers and ground substance, and extracellular matrix is responsible for the functional qualities of a tissue. So another important feature of connective tissues are that they are not occurring on the body surfaces. While if you recall the other classes, the epithelial tissue, they line the body surfaces. The outer covering of most of the organs consists of epithelial tissues. The connective tissue is always underneath the epithelial tissues. So we cannot find these over the body surface, or we cannot find these as a lining organ. And another important feature of connective tissue is that it is highly vascular. That is, it has its own blood supply. While epithelial tissue, they are avascular. They do not have blood supply. Connective tissue always supply the nourishment to the above epithelial tissues. The exception for this is cartilage. Cartilage is a type of connective tissue which doesn't have any blood supply. And another type of connective tissue called tendons, they have scanty blood supply. So all the other connective tissue, they are highly vascular. And another feature of epithelial tissue was it has its own nerve supply. Similar to that, connective tissue also have its own nerve supply except for cartilage. So cartilage is a type of connective tissue which doesn't have a nerve supply or blood supply. Now let us see about connective tissue cells. So depending upon the tissue, the connective tissue cells vary. The commonly found connective tissue cells are fibroblasts, macrophages, plasma cells or plasmocytes, mast cells or mastocytes, adipocytes, white blood cells. So these are the types of connective tissue cells. And from where these cells are formed? The embryonic cells called mesenchymal cells give rise to cells of connective tissue. And these immature cells, for example, fibroblast, that the blast means it is to bud or sprout. So these are immature cells. They are found in loose and dense connective tissue. So these are immature cells. That is, they can divide. They are capable of cell division. And while in case of cartilage, it is called chondroblast. While in bone, it is called osteoblast. So when you hear this subblast, it has the ability to divide. And after some time, it will differentiate into sites, that is osteocytes, chondrocytes, plasmocytes, mast cells. So when this sites, the suffix sites come, that means the cells have become mature. I will talk about this with the example of cartilage and bone. That will be easy for you. That is, cartilage, it is also known as, the cells are called chondrocytes. Sorry, here. Chondrocytes. So these are the cells which are found in the cartilage. So this suffix sites means that is they are mature cells. They cannot divide further. They are incapable of division. While the immature cells are called chondroblast. So when this term blast comes, that means immature cells, they can divide. So the embryonic cells called mesenchymal cells, these give rise to the blast cells, chondroblast, osteoblast, fibroblast, plasmoblast, etc. And after some time, these blasts, they will differentiate into sites, that is chondrocytes. So that means they have become mature cells. Now, after becoming mature, after they mature, most of the cells, they lose its capacity to divide. Then it will be establishing as that cell. So when you see the cartilage in the microscope, you are seeing chondrocytes. These plasma cells otherwise are called plasmocytes. That is mature plasma cells. Mastocytes, mature mast cells. Adipocytes, mature fat cells. So depending upon the tissue, the type of cells differ. So these are the different types of connective tissue cells. These fibroblasts, these are found in the loose and dense connective tissue. You will see the classification of connective tissue very soon. So the fibroblasts, these are usually found in the dense and loose type of connective tissue. These are very large flat cells with branching process, and they are usually the most numerous types of connective tissue cell. Then macrophages, you might have heard about in microbiology classes. These macrophages, these cells play a very important or significant role in our immunity. Macrophages, they are developed from the monocytes. Monocytes develop into macrophages. It is a type of WBCs, and these macrophages, it is of two types, that is fixed and wandering. Fixed and wandering type. Fixed means that is they are found in one particular place. For example, alveolar macrophages, these are found only in the lungs, or splenic macrophages, these are found only in the spleen. While there is wandering macrophages, these have the ability to move throughout the tissue, and they gather at the sites of infection or inflammation to carry out phagocytosis. It is a type of cell eating. Okay, that is, it is a part of immune system. Then next is plasma cells. Plasma cells are found in many places in the body, but most plasma cells reside in connective tissue, especially in the gastrointestinal and respiratory tracts. Then mast cell. Mast cell is another type of cell which are involved in the inflammatory response of the body. Inflammatory response of the body, like in case of allergic reactions, that is the body's reaction to an injury or infection, and can also bind to or ingest and kill bacteria. Then next is the adipose tissue or adipocytes. Adipocytes are fat cells. These store triglycerides or fats. They are found deep to the skin and around organs such as the heart and kidneys. That means it is a form of energy reserve for our body. Then next is the white blood cells. White blood cells are not found in significant numbers in normal connective tissue. However, in response to certain conditions, they can migrate from blood into the connective tissue. For example, neutrophils gather at sites of infection, and eosinophils migrate to sites of parasitic invasions and allergic responses. So all these, they migrate from the blood to the connective tissue. Blood is also another type of connective tissue. It is a fluid type of connective tissue. So now let us see about the extracellular matrix. So as I have already discussed, that is, when you see the connective tissue, you have the cells. The cells may be fibroblast, or macrophages, plasma cells, mast cells, adipocytes, anything, depending upon the location. So this space between the cells is called the extracellular matrix. The space is called the extracellular matrix. So this extracellular matrix consists of ground substance and protein fibers. So now we are going to discuss about the ground substance. So ground substance is the component of connective tissue between cells and fibers. It may be fluid, semi-fluid, gelatinous, or calcified. Ground substance may be fluid, semi-fluid, gelatinous, or calcified. It supports cells, binds them together, stores water, and provides a medium for exchange of substances between the blood and cells. And the main component of ground substance are water and large organic molecules. These organic molecules, it varies depending upon the location of the tissues. For example, hyaluronic acid, these are viscous, slippery substance that bind cells together. It lubricates joints and helps maintain the shape of the eyeballs. It is not solid, but it is a viscous substance. And chondroitin sulfate is a type of organic molecule which provides support and adhesiveness in cartilage, bone, skin, and blood vessels. And the skin, tendons, blood vessels, and heart valves, they contain dermatan sulfate. Then bone, cartilage, and cornea of the eye also contain keratin sulfate. Also present in the ground substance are adhesion proteins, which are responsible for linking components of ground substances to one another and to the surface of cells. So these organic molecules, they are actually responsible for the features of ground substance, and the ground substance in turn determine the physical qualities of the tissues. So the ground substance, it can be either fluid, or solid, or it can be gelatinized or calcified. If it is calcified, as in case of bone, then the whole tissue will be very solid. While in case of cartilage, it is not calcified, so it will be pliable. Okay, that is like the tip of the nose. So this determines the physical qualities of the tissues or the functions of the tissues. Now let us see about the protein fibers. So the protein fibers which are found on the extracellular matrix, there are three types of protein fibers. The collagen fibers are very strong and resist tensile forces. That is, tensile forces means uh, pulling or stretching, but they are not stiff, which allows tissue flexibility. The properties of different types of collagen fibers vary from tissue to tissue. For example, collagen fibers found in cartilage and bone form different associations with surrounding molecules. Because in cartilage, the ground substance has more water, and so it is firm, but it is pliable, unlike that of bones. These collagen fibers, they are made up of a protein called collagen, and this is the most abundant protein found in our body. And these are arranged as parallel bundles. So that is why they are having the high tensile strength, or they resist the tensile forces. And these elastic fibers are formed by a protein called elastin, and they are arranged as a fibrous network. And this elastin protein, these are surrounded by a glycoprotein called fibrillin. And this adds strength and stability for this elastic fibers. So as the name suggests, they have a property called elasticity. Elasticity means that is they can stretch. They can stretch and it can come back to its original position. So that is called elasticity. Elastic fibers are plentiful in skin, blood vessel, walls, and lung tissues. The next is the reticular fibers. Reticular fibers, these are also consisting of the collagen. But here, additional to the collagen, they have a coating of a glycoprotein. And they provide support in the walls of blood vessels and form a network around the cells in some tissues, such as areolar connective tissue, adipose tissue, nerve fibers, and smooth muscle tissue. And these are produced by fibroblasts. Reticular fibers are much thinner than the collagen fibers. And like collagen fibers, reticular fibers provide support and strength. Reticular fibers are plentiful in reticular connective tissue, which forms the stroma or supporting framework of many soft organs such as the spleen and lymph nodes. And these fibers also help form the basement membrane. So these are about the protein fibers. So the protein fibers are the three types: collagen fibers, elastic fibers, and reticular fibers. So I just like to recap the portion I have taken about the connective tissue. It is one of the most abundant and widely distributed tissues in the body. So far, you have learned all the features. So I can just conclude that the main functions are it binds, supports, and strengthens other body tissues. Now you know which is binding, supporting, and strengthening. Yes, it is the ground substance and the fibers. Then protects and insulates internal organs. Where is that happening? In adipocytes, adipose tissues. Then compartmentalizes structures such as in skeletal muscles. Then blood, a fluid connective tissue, serves as a major transport system within the body and main source of immune response like macrophages, etc. So the general features, that is the two basic elements, that is the extracellular matrix and the cells. Extracellular matrix means protein fibers and the ground substance, and the cells produced by the mesenchymal cells like chondroblast, fibroblast, etc. And the blast cells retain the capacity for cell division and secrete extracellular matrix. Connective tissue cells, examples fibroblast, macrophages, plasma cells or plasmocytes, mast cells or mastocytes, adipocytes, WBCs, white blood cells. Then connective tissue extracellular matrix, these are two components, ground substance and fibers. The ground substance we have discussed, that can be either fluid, semi-fluid, gelatinous, or calcified. It supports cells, binds them together, stores water, and plays an active part in the development and function of tissues. And it is made up of water and large organic molecules. Fibers are of three types: collagen fibers, elastic fibers, and reticular fibers. Collagen fibers are very strong, resist tensile forces, made up of a protein called collagen, arranged in parallel bundles, found in bones, cartilage, tendon, and ligaments. Elastic fibers, they are smaller in diameter than collagen fibers, but they form fibrous network within a tissue, and they consist of protein called elastin surrounded by a glycoprotein called fibrillin, and they are very strong, can be stretched, but they can return to their original shape after being stretched, called elasticity, found in skin, blood vessel walls, and lung tissues. And then the reticular fibers, these consist of collagen arranged in fine bundles with a coating of glycoprotein, but it is much thinner than the collagen fibers. They form the basement membrane, etc. So this is a general features of connective tissue. In the next video, I will come up with the classification of connective tissue. And if you I hope you have understood the topic. And if you like this video, please like, share, and subscribe my channel. Thank you.